It wasn't just a movie about fighting. It was a manifesto wrapped in blood, sweat, and whispered conspiracies. Every frame hid a code. Every punch carried a question you weren't supposed to ask. Beneath the chaos, it built an entire underground of symbols, rules, and accidents that were never meant to be noticed. These are 20 weird facts you didn't know about Fight Club. At David Fincher's disappearing act. In a blink and you'll miss it moment, director David Fincher makes a sly cameo only to vanish before you can be sure it was him. He steps into the frame not as a filmmaker, but as a background ghost in his own labyrinth. The appearance is so ordinary it feels suspicious, a brief nod to those watching closely enough to catch the smirk behind the lens. It's the kind of presence that makes you rewind, wondering if you imagined it, or if the film imagined you. 2. The single-frame intrusions. Tyler Durden doesn't wait for a grand introduction. Before his official entrance, his image flashes into the film for a single frame too quick for the eye, but not for the subconscious. These subliminal intrusions are scattered like breadcrumbs in the first act, making Tyler a phantom who haunts the story before he even exists. Fincher knew, if you saw him, it was an accident. If you didn't, he was already in your head. 3. The Starbucks cup conspiracy. Every single scene, yes, every one contains a Starbucks cup. Sometimes it's on a desk, sometimes in a corner, sometimes half crushed in the gutter. Fincher claimed it was a playful jab at corporate omnipresence, but its consistency borders on obsession. It's as if the coffee chain had infiltrated the set, the way consumerism infiltrates identity so natural you stop noticing it's there until you do. 4. Brad Pitt's real soap lessons. For a role built on chaos, Pitt took a strangely domestic detour, learning the art of soap, making from scratch. He burned, boiled, and stirred his way through real batches, often reeking of lye by the end of the day. The lesson wasn't just about accuracy, it was about embodying Tyler's resourcefulness, his comfort with danger. By the time cameras rolled, Pitt could have sold his own line of artisanal destruction. 5. A smile with broken teeth. Pitt's jagged grin in Fight Club wasn't movie magic, it was dental reality. At his own request, he had his front tooth chipped by a dentist before filming. No prosthetics, no CGI, just a permanent imperfection worn like a badge. The studio hated it. Pitt loved it. And in every close-up, that fracture became its own character. A reminder that Tyler Durden wasn't designed to be pretty, he was designed to be unforgettable. 6. The first punch was real. When Tyler tells the narrator to hit him, the script didn't demand accuracy, Fincher did. He quietly told Edward Norton to throw a genuine punch at Brad Pitt. The result was a startled laugh from Pitt, followed by a bruised shoulder and a scene that crackles with authenticity. That unscripted blow became the heartbeat of their chaotic friendship, and it stayed in the final cut, unpolished, unforgiving. 7. Chaos without choreography. The first fight scene wasn't meticulously planned, it was barely planned at all. Fincher gave the actors vague directions, then rolled the camera to capture whatever erupted. The result was clumsy, brutal, and strangely intimate. Limbs tangled, punches missed, but the energy was raw. This wasn't Hollywood violence. It was two men testing the limits of pain and permission. Oshim. Tyler's hands don't match his words. Watch closely during certain scenes, Tyler's hand gestures drift out of sync with his dialogue. Sometimes they're a half-second early, sometimes a beat late. It's subtle enough to miss, but unsettling when you catch it. It's a visual glitch in a human matrix. A reminder that Tyler might not be fully real. 9. The leather jacket's second life. Tyler's iconic red leather jacket didn't come straight from a costume rack. It was found, aged, and distressed until it looked like it had survived bar fights, rainstorms, and bad decisions. The jacket's history wasn't written, it was manufactured by destruction. Every scratch and crease told a story that never made it into the script, but lived in the fabric. 10. The book's darker ending. Chuck Palahniuk's novel doesn't end with buildings collapsing in a symphony of destruction. In the book, the narrator wakes up in a psychiatric hospital, believing he's in heaven. Tyler is gone, or maybe not. The ambiguity lingers, leaving the story suspended between recovery and relapse. Hollywood's ending traded quiet madness for cinematic chaos. but the shadow of the book's finale still haunts the film. Elivie, Marla Singer's real-life muse. Helena Bonham Carter shaped Marla into a chain-smoking apparition, but the character's roots ran deeper. Palahniuk admitted Marla was inspired by a real woman. He once met someone who moved through rooms like she didn't belong anywhere, yet refused to leave. Carter amplified that loneliness with smeared lipstick, second-hand dresses, and a voice that slithered through the smoke. Marla wasn't a side character. She was the mirror both Tyler and the narrator avoided. 12. The No Girls Rule. On set, there was an unofficial no girls allowed vibe during the fight scenes. It wasn't exclusion, it was atmosphere. Fincher wanted the all-male, sweat and blood environment to feel unbroken, even off camera. Women in the crew noticed, joked about it, and sometimes snuck in anyway. That energy bled into the film's underground basements, making them feel like rituals outsiders weren't meant to see. 13. I want you to hit me wasn't in the script. That line, one of the film's most famous, wasn't written down. Norton improvised it in the moment, challenging Pitt for real. The spontaneity caught everyone off guard, including Fincher, who loved it so much he built the scene around it. It became a mantra for the film's reckless authenticity. Don't pretend, just do. 14. The real basement. Some of the Fight Club scenes weren't shot on a constructed set. They were filmed in an actual, damp, forgotten basement beneath a Los Angeles building. The air was thick, the concrete slick, and the sound of fists echoed off walls that had heard too much already. The location itself became a silent accomplice, swallowing every shout and groan. 15. Tyler's early appearances. Follow a pattern. Before Tyler officially meets the narrator, he appears exactly 5 times in single-frame flashes. The pattern isn't random, it's placed at moments when the narrator's reality begins to fray. Like a virus creeping through the system, Tyler's presence builds until it can no longer be contained. 16. The final song was a last-minute decision. The Pixies' Where Is My Mind wasn't the original choice for the closing scene. Fincher swapped it in only weeks before release, deciding its haunting detachment perfectly matched the sight of skyscrapers collapsing. The track turns destruction into something strangely euphoric, a breakup anthem for the modern world. Whitton. Tyler never blinks. Rewatch closely. Tyler Durden never blinks on camera. Fincher directed Pitt to hold his gaze unnaturally, even in moments when a blink would be instinctive. It's a subtle but unnerving detail, giving Tyler the predatory focus of someone who's more idea than man. 18. The phone call that changes everything. When the narrator calls Marla from the payphone, there's a brief shot showing no incoming calls allowed. It's a background detail most viewers miss, but it confirms Tyler couldn't have been on the other end unless reality had already fractured. 19. A frame of pure static. Right before the final explosion, Fincher slips in a single frame of adult content mirroring Tyler's prankster job as a projectionist. It's gone in an instant, but the jolt is enough to leave viewers unsettled, even if they can't say why. 20. The film almost had a different name. During production, there was brief talk of renaming Fight Club to something less aggressive, fearing audiences wouldn't understand. It wasn't just about violence. The idea died quickly. Fincher knew the blunt title was the first punch, and you never pull your first punch. Bonus fact: the secret Fight Club rules. Before filming began, Fincher handed the cast a private list of Fight Club rules that never appear in the movie. Some were absurd, like no fighting before coffee, and every injury is a badge, not an excuse. Others were cryptic enough to sound like cult doctrine. The list wasn't for publicity. It was never meant to be seen outside the set. It was Fincher's way of binding the actors into a shared secret, an initiation that blurred the line between fiction and the world they were building. Tell us in the comments which fact hit you the hardest and which film's hidden truths you want us to expose next. Until then, keep watching closely. The real story is always in the frame you almost missed.